y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Victoria and this is Super Geeked. So if you're a new subscriber, which most of you probably are, I wanted to just go ahead and introduce myself and tell you a little bit about me. So I have been going to antique stores, estate sales, and auctions since I was a little girl, basically since I can remember. And I started becoming an avid collector of mid-century modern when I was about 10 years old. That was over 30 years ago. So I have a wide knowledge base of everything post-World War II, 1945 to 1965. But I also have a broad knowledge of antiques and collectibles in general because of my years of going to antique stores, estate sales, auctions, all of those things. So I've been reselling off and on since the late 90s, but never full-time as my main job until about 3 years ago when suddenly I found myself laid off from my position that I had for 10 years and I had to do something, and why not reselling? Something that I know that I can do, I'm good at, and it has just taken off from there. I now do it full-time along with making YouTube videos about my journey in collecting and reselling. So what do I resell? I do resell mid-century modern hard goods, some antiques outside of the realm of mid-century modern, but I also sell a lot of modern and vintage women's fashion. I didn't get into fashion until about 3 years ago. I have my own quirky sense of style, very vintage inspired, a little overgrown toddler with some punk rock thrown in there. So I definitely have worked very hard for the last 3 years to build up my business, and fashion is an important component to that. So today, when we talk about my what sold for the month of May, then you will see that it's a good mix of fashion, modern and vintage, and hard goods. Today, we're going to talk about my Poshmark and eBay sales for the last half of May. I did put out a video at the beginning of May of my early sales, but then the whole eBay thing happened. And quite honestly, I don't have a ton of sales from eBay because it has taken time to relist all of my items after that suspension. If you haven't seen the video, definitely go and check that video out. And the follow-up, it was kind of crazy, kind of scary. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Fingers crossed. So you'll see that I don't have a lot of eBay sales because it's taken time to generate those sales again. If you don't care to watch my what solds from either of these platforms, there will be chapters below in the description where you can click ahead to Poshmark or eBay. But I think it's fun if you sell on only one platform to consider diversifying, especially if you only sell on eBay, because if you watched my last video, it's kind of scary that one day you can wake up and your account's gone. All right, let's get into these sales. I'm going to start with Poshmark. First up are these super cool vintage Y2K Celine heels. They're block heels. They had a denim strap over them, leather, some Celine signature hardware on it, and they sold on Poshmark for $100. If you don't sell on Poshmark, they take 20% of your sales and the buyer pays shipping. So it was a $100 sale. My cost of goods on these were from a thrift store for $5.65. $20 in fees came out for Poshmark, and I made $74.35 on these awesome Celine heels. Next up was a Anthropologie brand I don't generally pick up. It's Postmark. I did pick this up because I got it at the Goodwill outlet, or aka the Goodwill bins. And this did take a while to sell, but it is Postmark. It's not one of the most sought after Anthropologie brands. Anthropologie has some really, really great brands that can sell for a lot. This is not one of those. And I knew it was just a plain top, but it came from the bin, so I'd sold for $15. My cost of goods were around $1, so for me, that was a good profit. This is another older Anthropologie brand, but it did sell for a little higher. This is called Feather and Bone, and it was this cute little dress that had eyelet details on it. And this one sold for $30 on Poshmark. A brand of jeans that I still love to pick up, and I recommend picking up if you find the newer tag. I'll pop up a picture of the newer tag here. It's the one without the date on it. These were the Madewell Classic straight jeans, and they sold for me on Poshmark for $52. My cost of goods were $5.85 from the thrift store. Poshmark took $10.40. I did give a shipping discount on this because if you don't sell on Poshmark, probably don't know this, but if you send out offers to anyone who likes your items, you do have to offer a shipping discount. It is mandatory. So that was $1.72 off of my profit, and I made $34.03. Sometimes it's worth it to send out those offers because even though you pay a portion of the shipping for the buyer, you're still gonna make a nice profit. Whoops, I almost left this sale out and I didn't want to do that because if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I posted about vintage barware and how it's a hot seller. These were some vintage lucite swizzle sticks with cocktail toppers, super cute. They actually came from my own collection and I did list them for sale and they sold on Poshmark for $38. So don't pass up that vintage barware. Another Y2K vintage piece was this Looney Tunes corduroy shirt. I don't know if I pick up the corduroy again. I just kind of tested it out. Some Looney Tunes stuff sells like really well. I've sold short-alls, overalls, and they can sell for $50 and up. This only sold for $18 and was listed for a long time. So I'm happy to see it go, but I don't know that I would pick up the corduroy again. I did get a lot of these Bowden dresses. Bowden is in my 10 bread and butter brands video. It's a brand that I love to pick up. I got a whole lot of these thanks to my girl Alicia. You know her at Murray Life here on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all that. This dress sold for $55 on Poshmark, and after deductions and my cost of goods, I did pick this up at a thrift store. I made $36.12 on this Bowden dress. Another brand in my bread and butter video is ModCloth. If you've seen my videos, you know I love ModCloth, but if you're new here, ModCloth is a vintage inspired clothing distributor and brand. They have their own in-house brand, much like Anthropologie, and sub-brands that they carry on the ModCloth website. But unlike Anthropologie, they do not have brick and mortar stores, but I love to sell them. I do really well with ModCloth. This was a dress that I thrifted. It was the Charter School sweater dress. Charter School is one of ModCloth's basic cardigans, and they made one into a dress. This sold for $40 on Poshmark, and I only paid $4.91 at the thrift store. It was $8 in fees, so I made a profit of $27.09 on this dress. Okay, a little bit of mid-century goodness. I sold this set of plastic. It's not melamine plastic, it was a thinner plastic set. I found these at the Goodwill outlet or bins. I had to dig in several bins to find all the pieces because they were scattered. They did have a little bit of discoloration and some scratching from use because it happens with old plastic. But this is called the Vacrin series, so they're vacuum sealed plastic. They vacuum on the pieces together. It's by Bop and Decker Plastics. There was a couple bowls, a couple of tall tumblers, smaller tumblers, coffee cups. Anyway, I sold the whole set for $35. I had paid $1.89 for all of them. Fees on Poshmark were $7, and so I came out with $26.11. Mid-century plastic ware is very popular. There's different styles of it. I collect Boonton ware, but there's many, many kinds, and they're not something that you want to just walk past, even though they are very unassuming, and just some plastic dishware. Another ModCloth piece. This was one of the sub-brands called Collective. They're a UK brand, and this was a precious dress. I wish it was my size because I would have kept it. It was polka dots, fit and flare, very vintage inspired, and it sold for $40 on Poshmark. I paid $2.14. It was new with tags. Sometimes I am able to get ModCloth at a great price from a salvage store here in Mississippi. They get ModCloth in from time to time, and I picked this dress up for $2.14. After Poshmark's $8 in fees, I made $29.86 on this ModCloth dress. This next item was just given to me. It was a pair of shorts. I got a bunch of stuff given to me at the start of the pandemic. They're from Francesca's, which is, I think, just like a boutique store. I don't really pick up Francesca's in the thrift store, but I was gonna list it because they were free and they sold for $12. Next up, I got these Fry boots in a thread-up shoebox. We love some thread-up boxes sometimes. Although I haven't bought any this year. I wasn't sure if these were men's or women's, and they turned out to be women's, and they were a very rugged style. They were made to look really worn in. They sold for $68. My cost of goods were $6.67 on that thread-up shoebox. And after deductions, I came home with $46.01 on those boots. Another gift to me during the pandemic were these Lululemon Aviva pants. So Lululemon had a kids line called Aviva. They have discontinued it, so you can no longer get them, but they basically had the same styles that Lululemon had at the time, and they just made it in kids versions. And these did sell for $12. So again, they were free, so any profit on them was good for me. I picked up these Whitney Eve pants at the thrift store. I thought I'd try them out. If you don't know who Whitney Eve is, she was on The Hills and the spin-off series The City on MTV. I watched all the trashy television, so yeah, your girl watched it. She did have a fashion line that she came out with after her show The City, and so these were some silk pants. They were in an olive color, and as much as I love pastels, I don't know why I'm so attracted to olive, but I did buy these. And they sold for $35. So it turned out good for me. I don't know if I'd pick them up again because they did take a long time to sell, and I don't think it's a super sought after brand, so take it for what it is. Next up were some Burberry shorts. I did list these really low. I had sent them into the RealReal, but they were missing the actual Burberry label in the inside. They did have the Burberry fabric tag that had the fabric content and washing instructions, and it did have the size, but without having the rest of it, I thought it was gonna be a hard sell. They were these little shorts and they were striped, and the only Nova check that they had on them was a tiny little patch on the back. So I sold them for $25 and I was happy with that. I did get these in a ThredUp designer box, but I've already made a profit on that box, so I wasn't worried about how much I got as long as I got my money back out of it. Next up is a Lulu's dress that I picked up on a road trip last summer. It was satin and a mustard color, and I really like selling Lulu's. They also are mentioned in my bread and butter video that I made. I sold it for $55, and after deductions, I made $36.12 on this Lulu's dress. Another ModCloth. This was a rainbow dress that I had in several sizes. This was the last one, and I just sold this one for $40. The solds on this dress ranged from $40 to $75, so happy with it because I only paid $1.31 per dress at that liquidation store. Again, ModCloth is still one of my favorites to pick up. Another designer piece, this was a Celine skirt. It was just a pencil skirt. I also got this in a DIY designer box. It also was missing tags. However, this one did have the brand tag. It did not have the fabric content tag and washing instructions in the inside, and did not have a size. So I had to put the measurements and estimate the size of the skirt, and sold it for $33. So that's a good deal for a skirt that I have no idea what size it really was. Okay, another thrifted piece, another designer is Derek Lam, and this is the Tin Crosby diffusion line of Derek Lam. This dress sold for $75. I had picked it up at a thrift store for $6.74, and after Poshmark deductions and a $1.72 shipping discount because I had sent an offer to the buyer, I made $51.54 on this dress. This next dress is by the brand Waif. They're a Nordstrom dress. This is when I was doing some experimenting at the beginning of quarantine. I purchased this Waif dress. I probably would not do the ThredUp sourcing again. The cost of goods was just way too high, but obviously we didn't know what was gonna happen with the pandemic, so I went ahead and picked up some items off of ThredUp to try to resell, and it did sell for $35. It did sit for a long time, but the buyer gave me 5 stars and loved the dress, so it all worked out in the end. Next item is Free People. Free People is also on my bread and butter video. I very much still enjoy selling Free People. It still moves for me, even though Free People can be highly saturated. This was a metallic sort of Aztec print dress, and it sold for $27 on Poshmark. Some more vintage hard goods. I found these adorable shot glasses. There were actually 4 of them originally, but I broke one of them. I actually thought they were a shot glass that I own because it was a very similar design on the outside of the shot glasses. They're actually large shot glasses. It had the Eiffel Tower, Moulin Rouge, poodles, can-can dancers, whatever you think of when you think of Paris were on these shot glasses, but they didn't match the ones that I have in my own collection, so I went ahead and resold them, and I was happy that they sold for a cool $28. These are an older tag Lilly Pulitzer. I'll pop up a picture of what the older tag Lilly Pulitzer looks like. It's the white tag. I generally won't pick up the white tag anymore. They just don't sell that fast or for that much, but I did buy 3 of these. I don't know why. I went to 2, this is so weird. So I went to 2 different thrift stores in this 1 week. One thrift store, I found 1 pair of this Lilly Pulitzer golf short. The print's called Line Drive. And then I went to another thrift store later in the week and found 2 more in different sizes. It was so bizarre. So I don't know if they came from a store and were donated, but they're vintage, they're older tag Lilly Pulitzer, so I really don't know. But this was the last of them. This one was new with tags and it sold for $39. So I was happy to say goodbye to it, but again, not really big on the old tag Lilly Pulitzer unless it's like way, way old vintage. If it's the really old Lilly Pulitzer, like 60s, 70s, I would certainly pick it up. But this kind of vintage that's just late 90s through the early 2000s, not really worth it to me to pick up, I don't think. And the last Poshmark sale I want to share with you was another donation item during COVID. I just started listing this jewelry. It's been sitting in my death pile, so this was one of the pieces I recently listed. It was this beautiful shell necklace. It had little shell beads on it and then a big shell in the middle and some glass beads on it too, and it sold for $28. Again, my cost of goods was 0 on that, so happy with any profit that I make on it. So that was it for my Poshmark sales. Let's move on to eBay. These sales are basically from the last week of May because eBay sales were just in the toilet thanks to my eBay suspension, and I am still fighting to get some momentum going over there on eBay, but I'm happy with some sales as small as they are. First item was a bins pickup. This was Flying Tomato. I don't ever pick up this brand in the thrift store, but it was a cute style and I got it for a couple of dollars, so I was happy to see it sell on eBay for $25. Next up were some sunglasses. They were designer by Miu Miu, which is a Prada brand. I got these in a ThredUp DIY designer box. They actually sold before and the customer had sent me an offer, but something happened with their PayPal and eBay ended up canceling it because they never paid. Well, she sent me another offer and I did accept it. And after a few days, she did pay for it. These sold for $55.90 on eBay. I had paid $17.14 for these in the ThredUp designer box. eBay fees were $7.52. And shipping and handling was $3.72. So my total profit on this was $27.52. The next piece is an antique. It was Nippon. It was unmarked. It was a floral double-handled round vase with feet and a ruffled top. It did have 24 karat gold accents on it, and it sold for $72.10 through an offer. My cost of goods on this at an antique store in Richmond, Virginia, when I was on my road trip last summer, it cost me $5.79. And after shipping and handling and eBay fees, I took home $46.70. Next item is a mid-century modern fondue pot. It was just the pot and lid. It did not have the pokers or the sterno set that goes underneath it, so it was just the pot, but it was super cool. It had this rainbow pattern on it and it was enamel. It was a fairly large pot and it sold for $39.45 on eBay. I had paid $1.46 for it at the bins, and after fees and shipping, I took home $24.69 on that fondue pot. Next up, we have these wall hangings. They were from the 1970s. They're from a brand called Homeco. They are plastic. They would have come in 2 or 3 panels. I had 2 panels and I picked them up when I was in Baltimore, Maryland last summer. I paid $12.30 for them at the thrift store. I sold them for $62.75, and after all the deductions and my cost of goods were taken out, I made $27.64 on these. I love these sort of things. I have a lot of them that are mid-century. 1970s isn't really considered mid-century, but some people who collect mid-century also collect things from the late 1960s and the early 70s. So definitely still in that sort of vein. And the last sale I'm going to share with you from eBay was this awesome Dolce & Gabbana jacket. It was vintage. It was faux cow print, corduroy. It had a faux fur on it. It was beaded on the sleeves. very 1990s Y2K era, and it sold for $109.75 on eBay. I had paid $6.60 at a thrift store in New Orleans, and after fees and shipping, I took home $75.33 on this Dolce & Gabbana jacket. So that's it. That's all the sales I have to share with you for the end of May. I hope you enjoyed this video and seeing what sort of items are selling for me on Poshmark and on eBay. I hope that if you're a new subscriber that you enjoy the content I put out here. If you're new to my channel and you'd like to subscribe, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you here. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up on the way out if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, y'all.